The gravity really arises out of, in many ways, the victim and the circumstance of the victimization. That is, a fifth grader and his teacher.
This is Madison Bergmann at her sentencing hearing for having an inappropriate relationship with her fifth grade student. Now, I did a video on Madison Bergmann just a couple of months ago, and when I tell you the rabbit hole this sent me down was much worse, if you can imagine, than just a fifth grade teacher preying on her student. But it was two fifth grade teachers preying on their students, and both of them knew about it. So these fake tears she's got going on here does absolutely nothing for me besides make me laugh. I will link that video down below in the description, but let's just take a quick recap of this story. Madison Bergmann, a 26-year-old fifth grade teacher in Wisconsin, developed initially what documents called a friendship with a fourth grade student. It's unclear how it all started or how it all progressed, but she became very close with the student's family and became friends with his parents, even allegedly going on trips with them. So it was surprising, due to their close relationship, that this student was put in Miss Bergmann's fifth grade class the following year, seeing as how there were two other fifth grade classes available, but nonetheless, he was her student. Starting in the fall of 2023, there were emails exchanged between Madison Bergmann and the student that were not necessarily inappropriate. It's just to be noted that there was unsupervised communication between the two. Now, I couldn't verify this, but from what I read in the reporting on this case, the mother of the student was actually the one who gave Madison his cell phone number, and that was when they started texting each other in December of 2023. Now, let it be known that she initiated inappropriate conversations in those texts. There were over 35,000 text messages between December of 2023 and April of 2024. And the judge at this sentencing hearing really let her have it. I'm going to let him tell you what those text messages detailed.
A couple of months go by and we get to December 26th of 23 for the first message. And obviously I didn't go through all the messages. There were 35,000 messages or so. The last message I saw was from about April 29. Total text 35,429. So between those dates, I did some math, Ms. Otten, and I came up with about 125 days or 283 texts per day.
283 texts per day. Now, a couple of things I think about here. One, Madison Bergmann was engaged. She was engaged at this time. I don't know if she and her fiance were living together, but I can't imagine, texting someone 283 times throughout the day and my partner, maybe not at least at some point asking, like, who are you talking to? Like, who are you texting all the time? And not only that, but this child is texting someone 283 times per day. And I don't think I could imagine seeing my child on their phone texting away and not at some point getting curious and saying, who are you texting all the time? An 11-year-old. 283 messages per day. Crazy.
This is ridiculous on its face. Now, I'm a 67-year-old judge, so I may not text like some, but this level of contact between a 24-year-old teacher and an 11-year-old student going to an elementary school here in Hudson is unbelievable. And then when you start reading what's in the text, we've seen a lot of the details. I don't want to go through that, but I do want to just list off some of the topics that were discussed over time that I identified. Touching each other, kissing, pushing against each other, touching the victim's chest, feeling heart beating, physical characteristics of each other, dreaming about each other, female sexual arousal, female menstruation, devices used for sexual arousal, oral sex, use of fingers to achieve sexual arousal, licking, body parts, touching victim's stomach, the victim's own sexual arousal, touching legs, expressions of love. I'm so in love with you. I see you in the morning and I get wet. This is crazy, in a sense. And so when I listen to the arguments here, and then I look at the actual text, and I'll get to this in a moment, I'm left with this sense of deliberate purpose and process over time.
And that deliberate purpose was grooming. I mean, this was an intentional and elaborate plan to befriend a child, befriend his parents, gain their trust, and get this kid in her class, to then groom him into these conversations, hoping to become physical with him, an 11-year-old. And this judge didn't hold back. This is what he had to say.
This whole process, everything that happened since this began in December of 23, has been devastating to the victim, life-changing to that young boy. And we saw how, you think back on when you were 11 or 12 years old and going to school and how hard it was anyway. And now, what about this? There's stories about this, for heaven's sakes, in London newspapers. Imagine how devastating that would be. And the salacious nature of this particular set of crimes brought attention, and that attention creates greater trouble for the victim and the family.
I just have to point out there's never actually any tears. It's just a bunch of huffing and puffing and sniffling.
I do think this is a prison case because for all the reasons that I've indicated. I think that a more appropriate sentence, and the sentence that I will hand down here today, is I'm going to order that Ms. Bergmann be incarcerated in the Wisconsin State Prison System for 6 years. And that she served 6 years on extended supervision thereafter. That's on count 3. With regard to counts 6 and 8, I'm going to order 1.5 years of incarceration on each. That's the maximum sentence. And 2 years of extended supervision on each.
Wait, did you peep that? Let's watch it again.
2 years of extended supervision on each. And I am going to run all of this concurrently. I think essentially the outcome here is 6 years in the state prison, 6 years of extended supervision is an appropriate sentence given everything I've heard here today and everything I've discussed with you. Now, Ms. Bergmann, you're going to have to calm down for a minute because I have to give you some more. All right.
Honestly, this is such a lenient sentence given the time that she could have served in prison for this. The crying, no one's falling for it. There's no tears. I don't feel sorry for her. Honestly, she should be grateful that 6 years is all she got. But while I think justice was somewhat served in this case, I don't want you to forget about the other teacher I told you about. This is Abigail Faust. She was the other 5th grade teacher that was allegedly having an inappropriate relationship with her student at the same time as Madison Bergmann. And there were multiple text messages found that corroborate a story that they knew about one another. They talked about it, they laughed about it, they protected one another on multiple occasions. And when the story came out about Madison Bergmann, the school supposedly fired Miss Faust as well, not realizing yet that she was doing the same thing. They just thought that she knew about it and didn't do anything about it, so they fired her as well. Well, then it came out that she was also having an inappropriate relationship with her 5th grade student. But before that came out, she went to work in another county as a nanny and ended up having an inappropriate relationship with the teenage boy that she was nannying and ended up essaying him. Now, this activity, Abigail Faust, lasted into 2025, so she was just arrested this past August. Her case is still pending. We don't really have any new information regarding that, but there's more to come, I'm sure. It's just all really disturbing. Not just one 5th grade teacher preying on a student, but 2, and they knew about it and protected each other and talked about it, and it's just, ew. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments. If you care about keeping kids safe online and in real life, well, then I welcome you to subscribe and hit that notification bell to support me in that mission. I thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.